BookTube. Hello friends, Alan here, and I wanted to do this pretty fast. It's a VR video response to Alan Morton's 50 books to read before you die. I encourage everyone to do it. It's not a top 10 best list, otherwise number 20 in here would be number 1. It's an interesting quiz. I did fairly well. Here's my score. I'm not trying to brag because there's several books I have not read, several I have not even heard of. I haven't even heard of the writers. So, downtown living. Also, at the end, I'm gonna make a comment about the Adrien, what's his last name, Fort? The Adrien deal at Strip Covered Lit, and Amy, who I chat with. She's I like her a lot. From my dusty shelf, she participated in hashtag Dubliners 2019, and so I'll have this to say about that. 50 books to read before you die. Number 1, no particular order. Number 1, Tolkien's Lord of the Rings. Haven't read it. I never read The Hobbit. This is a bad way for me to start, I know, because I like fantasy books. I don't know, maybe I'll reread it someday. I hate to say this phrase, but my baby's mama was very much into Tolkien, and maybe that's why, I don't know. Number 2, Orwell's 1984. Yes. Read that a few times. Recently, before I was on BookTube, I read that again in 2016. I was in Toledo, Ohio, in a relationship, and the presidential election was going on, and everyone on Facebook seemed to be reading it. Number 3, Pride and Prejudice, Jane Austen. Have not read it, curiously enough. Number 4, Steinbeck, Grapes of Wrath. I've read it. Very much like it. I like East of Eden the best. I just buddy read that with my father. Was that this year or last year? But I reviewed it. See playlist below. 5, To Kill a Mockingbird, Harper Lee. Yeah, Atticus Finch. Have not read her sequel to that, but I like Harper Lee and her story and her friendship with Truman Capote. And number 6, Jane Eyre, Charlotte Bronte. Yes. Real recently, last year for Victober, I got turned on to the Brontes, and I'm a big fan now. Thanks for LucytheReader and Katie at Booksandthings. Number 7, Wuthering Heights. Now, this book, I am on Teen Wuthering Heights from last year in Victober again. I read it for the first time. I know, it just escaped me, one of those novels. I had heard about it, and like Heathcliff and the movies, and but I didn't know. And man, I loved that book. I've read it twice now. I have 2 editions of it, a Norton Critical Edition. I'll be doing a special video on it for Victober this year. Number 8, E.M. Foster's A Passage to India. Yes, I read that in college, and the part about when he goes into the talk about spoiler alert. Number 9, Lord of the Flies. Yeah, I read that. Good. 10, Hamlet. Yeah, I like Hamlet. Don't get me started on Hammy now. I'm going to talk about Hamlet. Let's start with, we can talk about episode 9 in Ulysses, the chapter I always mispronounce. Scylla and Charybdis, where Stephen Dedalus puts forth his thesis that not only was Hamlet's father's ghost, he juxtaposes Bloom's life with that of the father and son relationship. Hamlet's father, i.e. the ghost, is actually his, okay, I'm having a little fun there, but. Number 11, A Bend in the River by V.S. Naipaul. Never heard of it, never heard of him. 12, The Great Gatsby. Ooh, Zelda. Great book. 13, Catcher in the Rye, Salinger. I used to read that book like every year, every other year. And I used to read A Clockwork Orange too. A Clockwork Orange isn't on here, this list, just off the top of my head. Back in the microfiche, early 80s days. There's new stuff about Salinger out that I have not read yet, and I'd be interested in it. New fiction from him as well. 14, The Bell Jar, Sylvia Plath, big fan. Well, I'm a fan. 15, Brave New World. Yes. Huxley. Acid Eater. Experimenter in psychedelics and Brave New World. That drug soma they take. It's a great book. Real small, thin book, isn't it? But big, hard brick. 16, Anne Frank. Yeah, that's a mandatory read, like in high school. It was. 17, Don Quixote. Yes, I love that book, man. I've read that a couple times. 17, The Holy Bible. Yes, spoiler alert, he dies in the end. So. 19, The Canterbury Tales. Have not read that. Do not plan on reading that. 20, Ulysses. Get to know me. 21, The Quiet American by Graham Greene. I have not read that, but the only Graham Greene I've ever read is The Burnt Out Case. Read that in like undergrad lit class. 22, Sebastian Faulk's Birdsong. Never heard of it, never read it. I'm starting to think that this list is was generated from England. Just an observation. 23, Martin Amis, Money. Have never read that. I remember reading his book about time long time ago, but 24, Harry Potter series. Yes. Yeah, those are, I call, those are in Arizona, Another Life, etc. Did a lot of reading there. 25, Moby Dick. I have not read it. That's, I have a contention with that. 26, The Wind in the Willows by Kenneth Grahame. Never heard it, of him. 27, his Dark Material series, Philip Pullman. Never heard of him. 28, Anna Karenina. I read that with Oprah. It's a great book. Meaning I read it on her, she did it, Google when she did that book, and I read it along with her. When did she do it? 20 years ago? 29, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Yes. 30, Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. No, I mean, I've heard of it, but I've never read it. 31, Mark Haddon, The Curious Incident of the Dogs, and never heard of it. 32, On the Road. I just bought a new copy of that at a library book sale that I volunteered at, and I read that as an undergrad too. I remember it vaguely, no, more than vaguely, but I remember liking Dharma Bums better. 33, Heart of Darkness, Joseph Conrad. Yeah, I remember that. I read that with the Graham Greene stuff and Portrait of a Lady we read, I think. And 34, The Way We Live Now, Anthony Trollope. I haven't read it yet. I have not read Anthony Trollope yet. I'm gonna fix that. Maybe this October. 35, The Stranger, Camus. My mother died today, or was it yesterday? Or is that the plague? 36, The Color Purple. Yes, read the book, saw the play. Right on. 37, Life of Pi. I read that book and loved it. Really loved it. It was an experience. And then I saw the movie and loved that. It's a great book. 38, Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. Yeah, I read that. I was going to make some kind of comment about her husband, but I read that book, and it brings me to the point of, I think it's important to read like Dracula, Bram Stoker, and Frankenstein, and things like that. In the original, for example, I have not read Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It's like, but I want to remedy myself. It's like you think you know a story, but you don't. You might not. 39, H.G. Wells, The War of the Worlds. I'm going to click that off as a yes. I have not read it, but I know enough about Orson Welles, and I've heard it, and I know. Or is that one of the things I'm just talking about? Maybe I should put that as not read. You think? 40, Men Without Women, Hemingway. Have not read that. I just bought his Movable Feast, the memoir of Gay Paris, the 20s with Joyce and everyone. And 41, Gulliver's Travels, John Swift. Yes, of course, read that a couple times. It's really great. I was, apropos to nothing, saw his gravesite. He's buried at St. Patrick's Cathedral, Dublin, Ireland. 42, A Christmas Carol. Yes, I've read that. I saw the stage production at Kent State. I worked on the production. We were required to read the book, play, and everything. It was a great production. I remember a very short actor who was really good and went on to have a career in New York. Very short. He flew them all around. 43, Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. Not to be confused with The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. This is just Adventures in Huckleberry Finn. Might be my favorite American novel. And along with Hemingway's, that was his favorite American novel. I'm going to buddy read that with my father this summer. And I'm looking forward to it. Maybe this August. It will make probably my fourth read of the book. 44, Robinson Crusoe. I have not read it. 45, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Yes. Man, I love that book. I love Ken Kesey. He's got a nice little marker on University of Oregon campus, Eugene. I've seen it. 47, Catch-22. I have not read that. I need to remedy that, don't I? I haven't read any Heller. Phil Roth isn't on here. This must be an English survey. But Phil Roth I could use to read. Anyway, 47, The Count of Monte Cristo, Alexander Dumas. Yes, I love that book. I think it's better than Three Musketeers. 48, Memories of a Geisha. Have not read it. Saw the movie. Does that count? No, I guess not. 49, The Divine Comedy. Up there with Ulysses for me. I have some videos that I've posted. I've got I've got 3 translations. Anybody wants to read along or visit that with me, let me know. See, 50, The Picture of Dorian Gray. Yes, I read that for the 2nd time last October. I loved it. I have 2 videos on that. It's a great book. And that's the last one. So I read 35 out of 50, 70%. Better than average, better than 97%. That job brings me to gonna mention put in my 2 cents about this Adrien. I haven't spoken with Amy yet, and I probably won't. I'm not going to bring it up. I'm not really interested. I'm not going to read the Twitter stuff and that. I can almost predict what he's going to do. I put up with him for a few months this year, and I have a spidey sense for this shit, like misogynists, bullies, pedophiles. I really do. Nothing deep. It's a spidey sense. I finally asked him, I saved it. I could go back on Strip Covered Lit site and find it, but this is exactly what I said. And he didn't reply, of course, and so, fuck it, man. He won't be missed by me. Their attempted explication of a portrait of the artist as a young man a few months ago was embarrassing. It was sophomoric.